Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Yusuf Aram. Turkey's top diplomat gave valuable insight into where Turkey stood regarding its EU aspirations. In an interview, Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said if Turkey had been a full member of the European Union, it wouldn't need to search for alternatives like the BRICS, a group of emerging economies. Fidan also noted that had Turkey been a part of the EU, the bloc may have avoided the fragmentation it saw with Brexit. Fidan has been stepping up his engagement with the EU in recent weeks. He attended an informal EU ministers meeting in Brussels, the first participation by Turkey after a 5-year absence. Fidan also met with EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell at an Arab League summit that was addressing Israel's war on Gaza. Despite stalled progress on Turkey's EU membership, Fidan said Ankara was still committed to joining the bloc. Accession negotiations began in 2005, but stalled in 2018 over a series of political differences and the lingering issue over the island of Cyprus. For more on Turkey-EU ties, joining me now from Bucharest is Adrian-George Axinia. He's a member of EU Parliament from Romania. And here on set with me is Tugba, Isik, Ercan, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee at the Turkish Grand National Assembly. Thank you, guests, for joining me. Now, I want to open up with you, Adrian. From Bucharest, you're in Brussels a lot. You are a member of European Parliament. There's been a 20-year accession process for Turkey. What's the holdup? Why has Turkey been waiting for 20 years?
For me, as a AUR MEP, I consider as a counterproductive the current total blockage between the EU and the Turkey regarding the accession negotiation in the context of a very pronounced shift of Brussels towards the far left. It must be understood that there are certain differences on approach, even on of an ideological nature, but the dialogue must not stop, especially since we have all seen the need for a Turkey close to the West amid with those crises, Russian aggression of Ukraine, conflict in the Middle East, which generated the migration waves, energy and security issues in the Black Sea. So for us in the time for our party, in terms of bilateral relation, Turkey must remain strong as a regional ally.
Mrs. Ercan, is Turkey still enthusiastic about joining the EU, or has that enthusiasm basically disappeared?
I cannot say it has disappeared, but we are still continuing to improve our relationships with EU, and we are improving EU standards while we are applying on the population. We are still continuing on to make higher our standards. But of course, as a member of parliament, I'm always inside the people, inside the society. So when you look at the society, so they especially deal with their standards is higher or not. They don't care that much about EU accession. But as a government, of course, we're continuing to make our accession to EU. But as you said, we have been waiting for 20 years. I don't know how many more 20 years we are going to wait.
Has the dialogue right now been a little more on the bilateral level with EU member states rather than engaging Brussels directly? Has that how Turkey has been taking the last couple of years, especially since the relationship has been almost frozen? We can say the accession process, let's call it. The relationship is never frozen, but the accession process.
Yes, bilateral, it continues always, not just with EU countries, but with the other countries also, all around the world, as you can see. So Turkey is it has very important strategical point. And so from this point, of course, we are dealing with bilateral relations with all nations, not just in EU. But of course, EU standards are very important for us, for our government also. So we will continue whatever we need to do as a government for the EU standards. We are going to do it. we are doing it actually. But of course, on this side, on this part, so EU has to decide about it, whether they want Turkey as a member or not. But when we compare with all the member countries with the Turkey, we can easily see that we surpass many of the countries' levels actually in many ways. Some of them with like democratic values, law, and with other issues also.
Adrian, when you were answering, you talked about certain ideologies, certain countries not wanting to see Turkey in the EU. Is it safe to assume that there's also ideologies, blocs, or countries that still strongly want Turkey as an EU member?
I'm not sure about the other countries, but between Romania and Turkey, we have a strategic partnership since 2011. But in my opinion, it's not properly valued on the Romanian side, despite that we share very important common interests, especially regarding the Black Sea, if we speak about economic security of migration control. From our side, the reason that the partnership is not properly developed is because of that political leadership in Bucharest, which seems like it pulled the handbrake. In Romania, we have the same cliche that we see in the Western progressive area. The progressive and Western area, the press are repeated. I think between the Romania and Turkey could be an example as a bilateral communication, collaboration, and it would be a good example for the other European countries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mrs. Ercan, I want to also ask you about something that's been in the news a lot lately. Turkey's likely possible BRICS membership. This has been in the headlines, and some EU officials have said that the BRICS and EU candidacy isn't compatible. The Turkish foreign minister has talked about EU membership, how it's stalled, that maybe if this process was never stalled, that Turkey might have not looked at BRICS as an alternative, and that its candidacy is still very, very important to Turkey. What are your thoughts on the BRICS and the EU?
Actually, definitely, we don't see it as an alternative to each other. BRICS is aligns with our vision for more balanced and multipolar world. So President Erdogan and have constantly emphasized that Turkey's foreign policy is multifaceted and aimed at strengthening our global position. So we are looking at the BRICS as to make more stronger our global position. Of course, we are very positive about BRICS too, but definitely it's not an alternative to EU. So we are very open to communicate. Of course, while we are communicating with EU, it has to continue like with multi-phase. Of course, when we keep continuing to cooperation, we are waiting the similar reactions from EU part also. But definitely BRICS is, we are looking at the BRICS on a different part to, I can say, reaction with the other part of the world. So not with European part maybe.
Okay, so it's safe to say Turkey wants both. It wants EU membership and BRICS.
Not just BRICS actually, the other organizations also. We are very strong in NATO. NATO is not an alternative to BRICS also, and some other organizations also we might want to apply for them also. It's not an alternative.
Okay, Adrian, in your previous answer, you mentioned the Black Sea. Now there's a very important Black Sea security deal between Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria. You also mentioned war in Ukraine. How is Brussels, Strasbourg, and Bucharest viewing Turkey's efforts regarding these very important issues that not only are important to Turkey, but also to the EU security as well?
I hope they're going to see in a better light. But for us, for Romania, we are very interested in security at the Black Sea level between Romania and Turkey, which should design a new Black Sea strategy in the context of the Russian aggression in Ukraine. Anyways, I think we also value Turkey as a crucial ally on NATO's eastern flank. You have a very strong military capabilities. I think it's the second military force in NATO after the US Army. And we believe that Romanian Army could benefit from such a technology transfer. For example, I know the famous Bayraktar drones began to enter in the Romanian enemy army endowment. So I think it would be better to have at the European level a strategy of unitary acquisition purchase of production for weapons, and right now I'm pretty sure it's being debated inside the European Union, but we pretty sure we need Turkey closer to European Union, and we hope it's going to happen as soon as possible. You have in me as a good ambassador in my bilateral discussion with our colleagues. So it's very interesting this discussion, because I'm getting more familiar with what's happening inside the Turkey, so I can spread the word through my colleagues in the European Parliament.
Just one quick yes or no answer from both of you.
Okay.
Do you foresee the accession process reopening in the next 1 or 2 years? Yes or no?
Yes.
Adrian, do you
I want to be positive.
Adrian, do you see Türkiye and the EU's accession process opening up in the next 1 or 2 years?
I'll go in the same affirmative way. Like I said, Turkey is very important for Europe Union, and I hope the European Commission realize that as soon as possible.
Okay, we'll see if Ankara and Brussels share both of your optimism. Adrian-George Axinia, thank you for joining me from Bucharest. Tugba, Isik, Ercan, thank you for joining me here on set. That was a great conversation.
Thanks a lot.